Most leadership advice is focused on the wrong thing. And it might be the very reason that you're not getting the results you're after. Because if you think about how leadership is usually taught, it's almost always outward facing. How to influence others, how to communicate more effectively, how to lead teams, build alignment, drive vision. And don't get me wrong, all of that matters. But here's the problem. You can do all of that and still not get the results you're after. Why? Because you're putting the cart before the horse. I'm Laura Miner, a board-certified leadership coach, and I was reminded of this backward equation recently while reading CEO Excellence, the 6 mindsets that distinguish the best leaders from the rest. The authors studied some of the highest performing CEOs in the world, trying to understand what actually drives excellence at that level. And what they found is that no matter the CEO's background or leadership style, the best CEOs consistently operated with 6 mindsets. And spoiler alert, one of them is super important to you and me. Those 6 mindsets are set the direction, align the organization, mobilize through leaders, engage the board, connect with stakeholders, and manage personal effectiveness. Now, this is a great book for everyone, regardless of where you're at in your leadership journey, and I'd absolutely recommend reading it. But there is one specific mindset that we need to talk about. Because the thing with the first 5 is that they're all outward facing. They're all about how you lead others. But that 6th one, managing personal effectiveness, this one is different. It's about how you lead yourself. And honestly, it's not just one of the 6 mindsets. It is the mindset that everything else depends on. Because think about it. You can't set the direction if you never slow down long enough to get clarity on where you're going. And you can't align other people if you yourself are inconsistent in how you show up. And you certainly can't mobilize others if you struggle to follow through yourself. So while all 6 matter, they're not all equal. Managing personal effectiveness is foundational to the others. But what exactly does it mean to manage personal effectiveness? Well, as the stories in the book showcase, it is self-leadership in action. And it shows up in 3 distinct places. It's in how they think, how they act, and how they sustain and motivate themselves over time. But let's break these down so that they're both practical and actionable. Starting with number 1, how you think. The best leaders aren't focused on cramming more into their day. They actually prioritize creating pockets of time to just think. In fact, one CEO talked about intentionally leaving portions of their schedule open so they could regularly step back, reflect, and focus on important matters. It's a reminder that if you don't intentionally create that space, you'll risk staying in motion without making any meaningful progress. Okay, number 2, how you act. Because clarity alone doesn't solve problems. In fact, a lot of people have the clarity to know exactly what they need to do, and yet they still don't follow through on it. But as one of the CEOs so simply put it, your time is your most valuable resource and it's finite. This means that how you spend your time is actually a leadership decision. It's all about how you lead yourself. Now, finally, number 3, how you motivate yourself. Because even if you have clarity around your priorities, and even if you're spending your time focused on those priorities, you still need the energy and motivation to follow through over time. And this is where the excellent CEOs were sensitive to something that so many others overlook. Managing your energy matters just as much, if not maybe even more, than managing your time. But often we run at a pace that drains us instead of sustains us. So how can we take these 3 lessons that contribute to CEO excellence and apply them to ourselves? I'm so glad you asked. But before I tell you, would you do me a huge favor and hit that like button? It lets me know that my content is resonating, and it lets YouTube know that these ideas are worth sharing, which really helps me out a lot. Okay, so steps to get real results. For starters, I want you to look at your calendar for the upcoming week. Do you have any blocks of time set aside for strategic thinking? If not, go at it now. Thinking time truly is the gift that keeps on giving. And when you elevate how you think, you make space to get really clear about your priorities. And once you have that clarity, it's time to put some attention towards how you act. So go look at your calendar and analyze whether your time is being spent on activities that align with your highest priorities. If there's a gap between what you say is important and what you actually spend your time on, then we need to bridge that gap. This is critical because that gap, that's where motivation goes to die. So on that note, let's talk about how you sustain and motivate yourself over time. For this, I want you to look back on how you spent your time over the last week, both personally and professionally. Did you spend it in ways that energized you, or did it go towards things that left you feeling drained? And if it was the latter, I want you to look for energy drainers that can be pruned from your schedule and life. Now, I realize that these 3 actions are super simple. Setting aside thinking time, aligning your actions with your priorities, and pruning energy drainers. But these simple actions put you on the path towards CEO excellence, which we all need because we are all the CEOs of ourselves. In fact, if you want to learn a little bit more about your inner CEO and how they're calling the shots in your life, I want you to go check out this video right here. And that way we can keep your self-leadership journey going right now. I'll see you there when you're ready.